Tu peux commencer à cette heure.
Ça fait bon matin.
Bon matin.
Est-ce que tu peux dire ton nom?
Mon nom est Donald Rodrigue. R-O-D-R-I-G-U-E. C'est un Cajun.
T'es un Cajun, toi. Ça
Ouais.
fait. Et où t'étais né?
On est dans la Lafourche Parish, une petite communauté de Chackbay. Et toujours le ça.
Et quand t'étais né?
1948.
Et dans ta famille, combien de frères et sœurs t'avais?
5 frères, 2 sisters.
Et vous avez tous parlé français?
Les plus les vieux, pas les jeunes. Tous les autres peuvent comprendre, pas tous les autres peuvent parler.
Ça fait pour toi, la raison qu'en fait tu parles français, c'est à cause de tes parents?
Ouais, mon parent, mon parent parlait tout quelque chose en français quand j'étais jeune. Ma mère de Vacherie, elle ne comprend pas, elle parle du tout en anglais. Son dernier nom était la sœur. Mon papa, c'est le Focus, la sœur.
Ça fait que vous allez parler les deux langues dans la maison?
Dans ma maison, on parlait de le gars.
Ça fait pour toi, depuis que tu restes à Chackbay, tout quelqu'un te connaît parle français? Ou?
Pas les vieux,
Les-
pas les jeunes du tout. Ça presse pas parler à cette heure.
Ça fait comment c'était la vie pour toi comme tes enfants?
Ça te dit?
Comment était la vie pour toi comme tes enfants?
Ma vie, ça fait dans ma vie.
Ouais, et quand,
What was my education?
like, how was your life as a young child?
Oh, ma wife, mon vie as un enfant, j'étais des farmers. On enlevait les volailles, les cochons, des veaux, des chevaux, de maïs, des patates. J'élevais dans le champ. Je travaillais dans le champ.
Est-ce que vous avez à travailler avec la canne de sucre?
Ouais.
Et pour vous, la canne de sucre, c'était planté dans
Qui
quel
c'est,
mois?
c'est la canne de sucre?
La canne de sucre de sugarcane?
Ouais. Quand j'étais après 15, on a plante de canne, c'est 125 arpents de sugarcane, de corn.
Et à cette heure, parce que ta grande petite m'a dit que Chackbay, ça t'a vraiment changé.
Ça,
Your granddaughter, she told me that Chackbay changed a little bit over the time period.
well, c'est tout. Va dire, quand j'étais dans high school,
Oui.
tous les personnes de Thibodeau réapprennent du dot en Chackbay. Because on parlait en français et le linge de notre partie, ils ont réappris du dot. Non! Tous les autres formés peuvent essayer de move to Chackbay. So, moi, je peux réapprendre them.
Ça veut quitter Thibodeau.
Ouais, parce que c'est bien joli au Chackbay. C'est tout des Cajuns. C'est pas dans un subdivision. Moi, j'ai élevé dans 32 arpents de land.
Et pour toi, qu'est-ce que tu as vu dans ta vie?
J'étais un maître d'école pour 40 années. J'ai un coach football et tout, les track et so.
Ça fait ta coaché football pour quelle école?
McNeese. Quand je graduated in 67, Nichols didn't have football. So McNeese, so I signed with McNeese.
Et pour toi, est-ce que tu étais vraiment bon, le travail là?
C'était tout bon avec ma education, c'était tout payé pour. Et la master's degree et tout. C'était maître d'école, assistant principal dans l'école, j'ai coach. J'ai coach pour 40 ans.
Et puis, est-ce que vous allez gagner des championships ou...
Quand j'étais... Brian, I'm going to have to call you back. Sorry. That's one of my coaching buddies. OK, ça t'est dit, ouais, quand j'étais en high school, j'ai des district championships. Au collège, des conference championships. Quand j'ai appelé dans le Superdome pour state championship 3 fois.
Vraiment?
Ouais.
Mais là, moi, j'ai pas connu ça, non?
Ouais.
Ça fait, est-ce que tu as joué avec des grands joueurs de football?
Ouais, j'ai coach probably 6 ou 7 ça a played dans NFL. Corey Webster de St. James. Not d'autres, but il a deux Super Bowl rings avec les New York Giants.
Mais t'es vraiment fameux, toi. Ça fait... Est-ce que tu as montré la langue française à tes petits?
Yes.
Ça fait... son papa, il peut parler français?
Well, un petit peu, à peu près commencé. She attendait un peu en français avec les noms.
Avec les noms?
Ouais.
Ça fait pour toi, quoi c'est le rêve de vivre en français en Louisiane? What's the dream of living in French in Louisiana?
Well, je pense que je veux tous les premiers grades, tous les petits, pour comprendre ça à nous the method that we was raised on.
Et tu crois que ça t'a vraiment changé?
C'est dur. Si tu connais pas parler français quand tu es un enfant, comme moi j'ai compris avec ma mère, papa et maman, non, nous autres, tu parles en français, mostly.
Ça fait, est-ce que tu peux parler avec tes parents et tes grands-parents?
Oui, tout le temps. Quand je te dis mon grand-mère de ma maman parle pas en anglais du tout, comprend en anglais pas du tout.
Qu'elle a fait pour... ce qu'elle a fait dans la vie, ta grand-mère?
Elle reste dans la maison. She was a housewife. I don't know how to say housewife in French.
Mais ton grand-père,
il était charpentier. Il était charpentier le sugar mill de Armand. Après 5 ou 6 mois d'ici.
Et ton papa, ça qu'il a fait?
Mon papa, c'était un farmer. Et il était un shérif en la Fouche Parish pour 32 années.
Et son nom était?
Gaston Rodrigue.
Gaston Rodrigue.
Gaston.
Est-ce que vous allez parenté avec George Rodrigue?
Long way.
Ça fait c'est vraiment
George,
distant,
ouais.
ça. Ça fait... elle m'a dit que vous avez fait un tas de choses avec la pêche. She told me that you do a lot of things with fishing.
Well, we crab. We go passer des trappes pour des crabes dans le lac d'Azalmont.
Et vous êtes vendu ça ou?
Non, juste pour nous autres.
Juste pour vous autres.
Pour manger.
Un cabi, un soin.
Nous autres trapper des crébisses à 4 heures dans le matin, près before l'école, on va passer des crébisses.
Pour la session, Easter.
For what now?
Easter,
What about?
le cabi, le soin.
So on va tremper des crébisses dans le swamp pour bouillir pour Easter Day, or Good Friday. So Good Friday, c'était un gros date pour nous autres dans la famille. Nous autres de bouillir des crébisses, bouillir des crabes, frire du poisson, et tout quelque chose pour nous offrir dans les chaînes de maman et papa. Et tout le famille, c'est très près. Après, son poisson, tout Good Friday.
Ça fait c'est un grand événement ça.
Ouais, c'était tout le temps gros.
Et vous avez fait ça même jeudi.
Oui, toujours faire ça.
Et tu crois que c'est une raison qu'on fait la famille?
C'est la famille les Cajuns, les catholiques. Et c'était bien fort. Mon papa, il était bien proud to be a Cajun. Et il dit tout quelque chose en français. Dans les sons, chanter, c'est le son de le Cajun en français. Il aime ça tout le temps parce que ça c'était l'idée après les Cajuns.
Ça fait quoi c'est la chanson des Cajuns?
Jolie fille, je pense.
Jolie fille.
Yeah.
Et puis, dans tes yeux, quoi c'est un Cajun?
Quand c'est un Cajun, je pense qu'il vient de Nova Scotia. Mon grand-père était élevé dans Saint John Parish. Et il a grouillé tout la Fouche Parish et dans Chackbay.
Ok. Et quoi c'est un créole? Qui c'est un créole?
Ouais, c'était les sons en mix. C'était des blancs, c'était des noirs, c'était des indiens. C'était tous les sons together.
Est-ce que ça parle différent, le français?
Ouais, si dans Lafayette, le français est un petit peu différent. Around la Fouche Parish, la Rose, c'est différent. Si tu vas à Marksville, c'est un autre différent. Mais tous nous autres peut comprendre.
Vous avez pu comprendre?
Yes.
Et moi, parce que moi je connais que le français de Bayou Kramer, c'est un type différent de Chackbay.
Yes, c'est bien différent. Dans une communauté de Kramer et Bayou Buff, des c'est Tongan, and when they want to say something, Tongan land, Tongan lead, Tongan, c'est un peu différent.
C'est un peu différent.
Yes.
Ça fait, est-ce que tu as des choses pour dire pour ta famille, comme ta grand-piti et tout ça? Do you have anything that you would like to say to your family in the next generations coming, like your
Tous les petits, si tu peux comprendre, nous autres ne pouvons pas parler en français, ça va aider dans le futur pour toi. Et ça tu peux carry on le nom de Rodrigue, et le nom, et ça je peux dire avec les autres.
Et ça c'est bon. Ça fait c'est tout que j'ai pour toi à ce matin. Et on va passer en anglais pour un petit moment parce que j'ai promis dans Bitique qu'on va faire des choses en anglais. So, do you have any questions for him in English?
How did you get to school?
How did I get to school? In my early days, we always rode the bus. We had paved roads. When I was born in 1948, so we had paved roads. But some of the things that I had to do before we were farmers. So when you got old enough, you went to the yard. You went to work on the tractors. You had to feed and everything. When you were young, first and second grade, I made 5 beds before I went to school every morning. If I didn't make the bed, I didn't get on the bus. That was something I had to do. Other things was on Saturday morning, I shined like 30 pair of shoes. Everybody's pair of shoes. I mopped the house. I did all the house chores that had to be done. we did those. We did those early in the morning, and I mean, and then what I remember is what being so young was what we did a lot of boucherie, tuer des cochons, and we did it by families. One family brought one or two, another family brought. So there was 3 or 4 families. So they would kill 5 or 6 pigs in one day. We would start at daylight, and we'd finish at dark. And my job as a young guy was keep the wood on the fire. There was no propane tanks back then, but going to school. And then when I was in high school, I drove to school because I delivered produce to all the grocery stores in Thibodeau and all the schools in Thibodeau. So on Friday mornings, my day started early, and I'd end up at school. And we did a lot of shallots or green onions. So when I would walk into class late most of the time, everybody said, "Oh, you smell like onions." Well, I had just dealt with shallots and parsley and cabbage and corn and delivered to every school that cooked in the parish. I mean, in Thibodeau, not the parish.
You wore shoes?
Going to elementary school, I never wore shoes. First through, I was at Thibodeau, I mean at Chackbay Elementary till, I guess, 7th grade. And probably during 6th and 7th grade, I wore shoes from time, but none of the boys wore shoes. Many of the girls didn't. Very few people wore shoes when we went there. And the food in the cafeteria was like eating at your grandma's house. It was, don't think about it, today's food was all pre-prepared. This was, it was rice and gravy, it was chicken stew. And I can remember during Lent on Fridays, the cafeteria ladies peeling crawfish on the back steps of the cafeteria on Thursday, so we'd have a crawfish stew. And that was an element. And our cafeteria food was wonderful. We like recess, we played ball. And we had many girls that could play with us. They could hit, run, catch, and throw just like we did. And they were barefooted.
And you went to school, all the grades were in one room, right?
No, that was my older brother. I never went to one-room schoolhouse. My older brother, Perry, went to a little one-room schoolhouse in Chackbay. It was called Morse School. And the first graders sat on this row, the second graders and so on. And what happened to him, he was in some kind of way, he ended up in the second grade when he was in first. So he graduated from high school when he was 16. And he played college football when he was 16 years old. And then it didn't hurt him. He went to the Marines, stayed 4 years, played ball, went to BYU, got a degree, came back to him, taught, then was assistant principal, and assistant superintendent in Lafourche Parish. Graduated from high school, he was 16.
And what my mom and father used to do for your kids whenever it was harvest time?
Harvest time, we worked. I mean, I used to go cut sugar cane before school.
Yeah, but my dad, what she would do, she would bring him out of bed.
Oh yeah, well she would come get him out of bed if it needed him to drive the tractor or break corn or dig potatoes and so on. Oh yeah, my daughter Heidi is like almost 50 now. She wants to be like her grandmother the most. She wants to be tough like her and be Cajun like her and everything else. And my mother never worked anywhere in her life. She cooked for 7 and ran the household. And she started 2 businesses. She started raising chrysanthemum for All Saints Day, which is a big Cajun, And we started off with 50 plants. She ended up with over 2,000, and that was a job. Then she started a catering business when she was like 50-something years old and flourished because she had a gift of gab and a gift of knowing how to. But all of her grandkids that came around her, she made them to learn how to work. Right? It might have been mopping the floor, washing the dishes, or digging potatoes, but they all appreciated that.
And you said her name? What's her name?
Rita Anastasia Lasare. She was from Vacherie. She lived on Peach Street. Her daddy was Focus Lasserre. He was a carpenter at Ormeau Plantation and the sugar mill.
Yeah, and after All Saints Day, what y'all did with the flowers? Or what the grandkids did?
Well, the kids, they ran through the flowers and they'd have flower wars. They would break them. They were, you know, the ones that were left, which was very little, and they would just trash each other with flowers. But we'd make the young ones go past the crawfish traps and go in the swamp. And what was the name of that song y'all sang one year? It was something, and they got videos of them all in the swamp.
Oh my God, the Harlem Shake.
Yeah, that's what it was, and that was all in the, and they just, for Easter and Good Friday, all the grandkids would come, and they knew they were going to end up in the swamp and stuff. They just loved to come for those days. And when they were young, we thought about, you know. So.
Yeah, we would all wade in the water. We wouldn't touch the pirogue. Nobody would get in the pirogue. We would all just be in the water, get leeches on our skin.
Oh yeah, that was memories that you can't erase.
Yeah, yeah.
And my mother used to go past the crawfish traps by herself, and it was like if there was you'd pick up the trap, you got your crawfish. Every once in a while there was a snake. Well, that didn't bother her. She would take the cane knife, cut it, put it in the trap for bait.
And what? Well, this is my dad's story, but what did your dad do whenever a snake came towards him?
Oh, he would grab it and pop the head. It didn't bother him at all.
Vous avez été deux, oui. Ça fait combien tu voulais devenir maître d'école?
Comment on est?
Comment vous voulez devenir des maîtres d'école?
How many now? Are the school teachers what now?
How come you want to become school teachers?
I guess when I was in elementary school, I had 3, 4 teachers that I saw they had a passion for it. And then when I went to high school, I had a couple of football coaches that they had a passion. It was something that was, I knew they felt good about it. It made me feel good. And then when I graduated, and I understood the game when I was in high school. I could tell everybody all the rules and all the X's and zeros about the game of football. And most of the sports I could. And I guess that was one of the reasons why. Then when I went to college, I had 2 coaches that I wanted to be like. And that's basically, I started coaching in the community of Rain, the city of Rain, which is the frog capital of the world, in 1972. And then my last year of teaching was 2012, I think. That was my 40th year.
Yeah, but how many times you retired?
I guess 4 or 5 times. Every time I would retire, people would call me up to go back to work. So Thibodeau Regional started a sports medicine. So I was the second hired there, and the CEO wanted me to go out to the communities and all in the surrounding parishes, and so that we could put sports medicine trainers in their schools, and I did that. And then I do 2 football camps at Nichols. One of them I've been doing since 1987. I haven't missed a day. And now I'm one of the owners of the camp. Last year we had 675 linemen. We had 13 from Connecticut, 23 from Tennessee. We get a bunch of them from Texas. We had 10 NFL coaches that coached the camp. One of those coaches is a Hall of Famer with the New York Jets.
So what is it called?
The Louisiana Line Camp.
Louisiana Line Camp.
Yeah.
And
It's held on Nichols State University.
And what's the other one?
Pro football camp. Where both of them we started with under 100 campers. And last year we had 6, with the Louisiana Line Camp we had 675. And the pro football camp we had 450. which is held on, all of them are held on Nicholls State University. And Tim Rebo is the head coach, but we named it now the Pro Football Camp, but it's the Tim Rebo Camp.
How do you know Coach O? Or what's your relationship with Coach O?
Coach Ed Ogeron, who was the head coach at LSU, when I coached in high school, I was coaching at HL Bourgeois in Homer. He was playing at South Lafourche. So I knew him from there, and when I went coach at Nicholls, he was playing at Northwest Louisiana. So I knew him from there, and then he went into the coaching, and I was coaching. And when he was coaching at USC, he used to come to St. James, sit in my office, and ask me who was all the players from South Louisiana. So we'd sit, I'd give him a road map of where to go. Since we've been buddies for ever since, and we speak French together.
Who else?
They all speak French, so nobody knows what y'all talking
No,
about.
well, basically, if we're in a crowd.
Oh, and tell them about how you got in trouble one time.
With what?
You was saying stuff in French. and
Oh,
the referee-
officials. The officials on the sideline, when I think they make a bad call, I'll start talking to them in French, but never cussing. And so I get it when they look at me and it says, you know, and I just, one of them answered me back in French, so him and I are big buddies now. So, but he knew, he understood me before he answered me. He knew I wasn't cussing, wasn't saying nothing bad, and stuff like that. So we laugh about it today. When I coached at Nicholls, when we would play off in Texas or in Montana and so on, I'd speak French. Then they would get a kick out of it. We played in Weber State one time, and the news reporters came. We were practicing on Friday before the game, and one of the news reporters asked the head coach. They said, "What, y'all Cajuns?" He said, "Yeah, come over here." So I went and I started talking French to the guy from Weber State, Utah, and everything. So I got to speak French in Utah for him.
Est-ce que tu as suivi la vie de quelques de tes joueurs?
No, what you say?
Have you ever followed the life of any of your players?
Followed if any of my peers, like the coaches.
Like, have you, like, so say one of your players goes somewhere, have you ever...
Oh, I'll follow them always when they went off to the NFL, like Corey and the guys that I coached. I will communicate with them all. Lionel Vital was from Laurelville, and he was African American who had a French dialect, and he knew words in French, and he left us, signed with the Redskins, became a scout, and he just retired from Dallas Cowboys, the chief scout. And I got him to come speak at Nicholls. We inducted him to the Nicholls Hall of Fame a few years ago. So I got to meet with him, and when he calls me up and asks me about different people or who's doing what where, and we communicate that way.
Yeah, wow. Ça, c'est tout que j'ai pour toi aujourd'hui.
Merci beaucoup.
Mais non, merci pour venir, parce que tu dis une bonne chose, un tas de choses que j'ai pas connues. Yeah, she never told me all this stuff.
Hey, we just met.
That's true.
But one little story. I'm a senior in high school, and Mama was strict, Cajun, and I had to be home at midnight when I was, So I got home at 12:30, and I'm 190 pounds. I was trying to sneak in the house. When I snuck in, she grabbed me around the throat and she put me up against the wall. I didn't leave our property except to go to school and church for 2 weeks. And all I did was say, "Yes, ma'am."
So before I end it, do you have any advice for the young folks today?
Find a passion. Do something that you love to do. Enjoy what you do. Get up every morning and put your feet in the ground and go attack the world. I mean, that's the way my parents were, because we would get up in the morning. This is the way my dad woke us up. There was no alarm, whatever time it was. He'd walk down the hall. We were 4 in one bedroom. He'd go, that was it. And you'd better be right behind him. So that was our wake-up call. It could be 4, it could be 4:30. Whatever it was, you just got up and you went and start your day. Now, Mom cooked. Pain pas de deux, 2 loaves of bread, eggs, 2 dozen of eggs, ham, bacon, piles of. No millionaire ate like I did because we had a freezer full of vegetables that we did. We had a freezer full of meat, of chicken, our calves, and the pigs, and we ate like kings.
And how y'all slept? How many did a bed?
We slept two in a bed. The two youngest asleep, the two oldest, and my older brother had a room for himself. And the two girls had a room for themselves, but they were later. So.
Merci encore une fois.